Dusk is falling, and we have only a few moments to set up our light trap in order to get the insects to come to our light before it becomes too dark. The insects that are active at night use the moon as a navigation point so they can fly in straight lines to be able to find their mates or food sources. This is what our light trap looks like. We connect a generator to a mercury vapor light bulb that emits a light frequency that mimics the moon's light frequency, that allows the insects to be confused, and they come to our light flying around in circles, getting more and more tired. And that's why we set up the white sheet, so that when they get too tired, they just sit upon the sheet, relax, and then we can see what species are showing up, and we can pick and choose which ones we want to keep and which ones we want to leave alone. You can already see after a few minutes of us setting up the light, the insects are already starting to gather. And within 15 minutes, we already have sitting around the light. It's a remarkable amount of insects, and they're not navigating very well because they're hitting all of us and they're landing on the ground, and the ground is starting to swarm with all sorts of insects. We have to be careful where we step. We don't want to crush anything unnecessarily. You can already see from this particular angle just how many insects are crawling on the ground. I am primarily interested in the moths. However, all sorts of insects like nocturnal wasps, there's beetles, antlions, bees, and other insects that are all coming to this light. So we have set up a system where when something interesting comes along, we actually have a syringe filled with alcohol that we will inject into the most active and the most bitey, the ones that pose the highest danger. We ended up running out of space to be able to contain all of the specimens that we were putting into envelopes. Now have a look at what flew onto my head, landed at my ear, and crawled down to my neck. This creature here is a leucanid beetle. Those pincers are very powerful, and it was just far too close for comfort. One of my friends was able to dislodge it from me. For those of you who wish to try to pronounce this name, it's Sphenognathus giganteus. I don't know the Latin names for the vast majority of these. We do have lots of Geometridae moths and Noctuidae moths and other families of moths that I don't know. Sphingidae, Caucidae, and Saturnidae. These all came to the light trap, but I won't be able to get you the species names in this video. Foolishly, none of us were wearing head coverings, and our faces were being covered by the moths in a similar manner that you see on the sheets. And it was shortly after this moment that I became infected in my left eye. What I thought to be was a parasitic infection turned out to be a regular infection with conjunctivitis, but it took me going to the hospital to get it confirmed, as they had to put dye in my eye and fluorescent light to see if there were any worm-like creatures swimming around in my left eye. When you see my face here with the moths that were going around me, that was the point where I got infected. I learned my lesson the hard way. There were quite a few large Sphingidae moths that came to the light trap like this guy. It was quite incredible to see. The body length on this was at least 2 inches, and you can see all that powder coming off of the body. Those were flying around in the air and going into our eyes, no doubt. A few moments later, this giant antlion male flew onto me, as well as a female that came later on nearby. But those pincers are incredibly long and powerful, and that's a very large insect. Not a friendly one at all. I had to keep my hands very carefully placed so that it wouldn't get me with those pincers. After 2.5 hours, it's time for us to wrap things up and to get rid of all of the insects that are on the sheets. I gotta shoo them away. That's what you see me doing here. And now we have to carefully tear down the entire light trap and pack things up. We're now fully stocked. All of our envelopes are full, and we want to make sure that we're not destroying any life unnecessarily. We're carefully placing our feet where we're not killing as many insects, even though the entire ground is covered. We're almost fully packed up, and we are now taking the treacherous drive down the mountain to our campsite, which is approximately 500 meters below. And there we're going to put everything aside and then try and sleep as best as possible. We're still covered in moths and insects. So that creature that landed on me, on my head, and then went down my neck last night, that somebody else pulled off of me, is right here. This nasty little guy was right there, right by my ear, on my neck. He came to the light trap. You can see how he's fighting the pincers. He's got a sharp end right here on top of the mandibles, and then very sharp mandibles themselves. He's able to close the tweezers without any issue. And then it's got spikes all around the thorax. So picking it up by the thorax would be very, very painful. Now he's got me. Those grappling hooks of his. He's holding on. He doesn't want to let go now. Let's see if I can get these grappling hooks out of my skin without hurting myself or him. There we go. Pretty cool, hey? This guy here flew into me as well, landed right on me, and let me show it to him. Let me show you guys what he is and what he looks like. So this little guy has got some very powerful pincers on him. It's an antlion male. I also had a female come at me, so he's inspecting, seeing if he can get a grip to be able to sink his mandibles in. He's just not at quite the right angle to get me. Oh, she almost got me. You may be wondering how I'm going to kill this without damaging it. This is how. I've got a syringe of alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, 96% pure, and I'm going to inject it right into where the joint is between the thorax and the abdomen, and the life is gone now. Oh, I can touch it. No, it won't get me. Oh, a little bit of action left in him. I'll give him one more. You absolutely have to see this. It's so amazing. So it's Fingidae. Caught this guy at the light trap last night. So here's the female antlion. I told you that I had caught both a male and a female. The male flew at me and landed on me. The female was just nearby. It was pretty close. She's still alive. Her pincers are nowhere near as long as the male. Does it remind you of that creature in Men in Black? Totally reminds me of that. Now it's time to put this guy to sleep. syringe with isopropyl alcohol. Instant